doing well. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. And guess what? We are live today. It is March 11th. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. And what can I say? We are talking to you about traffic and police stuff. We are talking to you, and we have a guest. The guest you can see if you're watching on YouTube, but cannot see. Actually, you can see Aaron Urquhart on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, but you can't see her on Instagram Live or on TikTok because there's only one camera here. But there's two cameras on the other system, and you can see you can read lips. Their microphone needs to get closer to you, otherwise we won't hear you.
Good?
Yeah, it should be close, or you can bring it down in frame.
I just don't want it to get in the frame again.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
We'll mess with it as it goes.
Can you hear me now?
Well, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Aaron Urquhart is a parking enforcement officer with the Toronto Police. She's a media relations officer who has an incredible following on TikTok. It's TPS_BikeHeart is the account for Twitter, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. There's also, of course, the Parking TPS, which is the main, corporate parking account, and she's joining us. And you used to join us all the time on the show.
Yeah. We used to back when Sergeant Kraft was still here. We would be in all separate offices with the headsets on and doing the old school show before it was TikTok live, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, because I would go live on TikTok for an hour, and then we would switch over and do a 45-minute show with guests. And every single day was a guest, and you were a regular guest, and Sergeant Kraft was a guest, and we had Sergeant Warren Stein was a guest, and we had Scott Marshall, who regularly guested, and we still have guests. We just don't do it as frequently because there's only so many hours in a day, and apparently there's other work to be done besides this. No, it was a tremendous undertaking to do it every single day, but we're so glad to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
It works out. We can celebrate FriYAY together.
Yes, happy FriYAY, everyone.
Yes. Well, if you're watching this for the first time, you have no idea who's talking to you or why we're talking to you. Well, this is an official channel for the Toronto Police Service. It is Traffic Services, and we answer your traffic and police questions. And today, we also answer your parking questions. So those are things that are very specific to Toronto and very near and dear to many drivers' hearts because so much happens in relation to parking. It's a part of every single day. You got to put your vehicle somewhere, and people who put their vehicles in the wrong places make it miserable for everybody else. So we're going to talk about parking in just a second. Before we do that, I want to tell you how to ask questions. If you want to ask me a question, you can and should go to on Instagram and TikTok, you should be using the question bubble. I'm multitasking here because Q just sent me a message saying, don't forget to plug. So, go to the question. It's the Q&A function. That is the question mark inside of the question bubble. That will ensure that I see the actual question. Because if you're in chat, I won't see it. The moderators will. They are a magical band of moderators. The magical moderators from Happy Land. They will see your chat messages. They will answer if they know the answer, but I will never see it, or very rarely see it. Sometimes it scrolls by. What is the deal? If you want to see Aaron, make sure you're on. I got to put it up higher here. It is Traffic Services Toronto Police. That is our YouTube channel. That is the easiest way. You can also
the left.
To the left? Which one? No, but to the left is
your
for...
other left.
But they're already on YouTube. They're already seeing it. I'm trying to aim for the TikTok camera. So just to give you an idea of what you're seeing here, I can do this by here. I'll do the fancy... This is really high-tech, where I take a picture with my phone. Here. Yeah.
Camera set.
So I'll show you the picture on camera. So that's what my desk looks like right now. There's a lot going on. It's a lot. Here, let me try and aim for here. It's a lot going on. So if I'm looking at Instagram, it's there. If I'm looking at TikTok, it's there. If I'm looking at everybody else, it's there. 3 cameras, trying to do it best, trying to balance it all, and it works well. It's just confusing sometimes. If you want to ask us questions on the other platforms, that's the YouTubes, the Twitch, Twitter, you can do that just in the Q&A function or just in the chat. If you're watching on Twitter, I apologize. You cannot actually answer questions right now, or can't ask questions. You have to go to one of the other platforms. So come follow us on Twitch at Traffic Services, YouTube, Traffic Services, Toronto Police. LinkedIn is actually under me. We haven't got a LinkedIn page for Traffic Services. We need to get one. And Facebook, Traffic Services on Facebook. You search us anywhere. And of course, if you want to just watch without asking questions, you're more than welcome. Ovio Robert wants to marry me. And let's see here. Oh, okay. we talked about pronunciation. I think it's Chassis or Chasey. You talked about making a best of video clips a while back. Please do it. Yeah, you know what? I've been chopping up long form video into short form content to share on TikTok for a while. I've been experimenting with it. It does pretty well. And yeah, totally doing the best of stuff. And the goal also of breaking these down into bite-sized clips is to make them into a podcast format that you can download and listen to while you're driving. Because so many people ask us, is it illegal to listen to our show while you're driving? And yeah, it is. If you're watching it, you can't watch it. You can listen to it, but you can't watch it. Okay, just looking over here. Rob Baker says, good morning from YouTube. Q says, we're Gucci on Twitch. Kayla Dracona is coming in from YouTube. Greetings and salutations, everyone. How we doing on FriYAY? We're doing well. Oh, Monday is Pi Day. Thank you for the reminder. It is also important to remember that on Sunday morning, we're going to be changing our clocks. We spring forward a time change on Sundays, so Monday will be brighter mornings. I may actually be able to drive without the assistance of headlights. I don't know. I come in really early. I leave the house at 5 a.m.
So that means we lose an hour's sleep, right?
We spring forward, we lose an hour's sleep. But who needs sleep anyway? It's overrated, I say.
Yeah.
But Pi Day is good. Yes, we're going to do that in a second. Okay, we're going to get to some questions in a second, but now that we've said Pi Day, which is incredibly important, the things that I live for. Okay, Vision Zero Enforcement Team. Do you know what it is? Well, if you don't know what it is, I'm about to tell you. It is a group of dedicated officers who are focused on making our streets safer. They do that by addressing the concerns we have with aggressive driving, speeding, distracted driving, impaired driving. These are driver behaviors that lead to serious injury and death on our roads. So what do? They go and look for drivers who are violating those laws, that are putting others at risk, and they give them tickets. This is always where we hear it is a cash grab. We do this so that we can make money. Well, no. You voluntarily give up your right to that money when you decide to break the law. The laws are there. You don't have to break them. Lots of people get through their days and their lives and careers as drivers without ever getting a ticket. You know why? They do the right thing. People who choose to put others at risk, they pay. Their insurance rates go up. It's not a good thing. Well, it's not a good thing for them. Now, today they're in 52 Division and 42 Division. Where is that? What neighborhoods are affected by their presence? Well, they're out helping the good people in Kensington Market, the Kensington area, Chinatown, Bay Street Corridor, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken, Rouge, just Scarborough. It's a Scarborough area out there. And they're doing good work. They write a ton of tickets. That means there's a ton of violators. They would have nothing to do if nobody broke the law. I'm sure they'd be okay with having coffee. If you don't break the rules in that area, they probably won't have to stick around there, but they're going to go for coffee. So help caffeinate police officers by not breaking the law. We got a question specifically for Aaron. What is your biggest pet peeve concerning people's parking?
Well, I think everyone who follows me knows that I have mainly focused on bike lanes. So that is a huge pet peeve of mine because it's majority in the city at this point have put up physical barriers. There's no way you cannot tell unless it's, a blizzard, how we had a couple months ago, and the streets are an absolute mess. But everywhere downtown, you can identify a bike lane. And you're pulling into a bike lane. When you see a plastic bollard there or a cement curb that you're literally pulling into, whether it's for a second or 5 minutes, it is wrong and you can still get a ticket. And yesterday, actually, BlogTO featured my video that I posted yesterday on the parking TikTok because I got three unoccupied cars in a span of a couple minutes on Adelaide, right across the street from the fire hall. So if you know where I'm talking about on Adelaide, I think that's Adelaide and John, just west of Adelaide and John. There's
big one. That's
the big fire hall there right on the north side. And that is a really bad hot spot for bike lane offenders. One, because there is no physical barrier there for a certain reason. I'm not sure, probably because of construction in the past. But yeah, 3 unoccupied cars there, and people come back out to their cars saying, "Oh, I'm leaving," and they're not going to get a ticket. It doesn't work like that.
They've committed the offense.
Yeah, you've like you said, you gave up your right to that money right when you pulled into that spot. I've actually never put it that way before.
Well,
so
but people tend to misunderstand how the law works. For instance, if I pull you over and I ask for your driver's license, your insurance documents, or your ownership, and they go, "Well, I can't find it. Can I bring it to you later?" Well, you've committed the offense by not giving it to me then. If you give it to me in 2 hours, it really doesn't affect anything. You've already broken the law. You failed at that moment, and that's what the offense is.
Yeah.
Years ago, and even in Toronto, if you forgot your driver's license at home, they'd say, "Yeah, come bring it to me at the station." Well, that was a long time ago. That doesn't happen anymore. You don't give it to me now. Now you get a ticket. Now you can go to court and discuss it with them. That's up to the courts. In terms of the offense, it's taken place. So if they parked illegally, running to the car going, "Oh, I'm here, I'm moving," good for you.
Yeah, you're leaving with a ticket.
That's it. The bonus. This is again, it's not a cash grab. This is a reminder why you don't do this, because you can get a ticket, and here you go. Here's your souvenir. Yeah. Hopefully that motivates them to do the right thing next time. But do you think that people just don't care, or they don't know? What's the difference?
I think it's a combination of both. There's the scofflaw offenders downtown where you type in their plate and you see they have like 15 to 20 unpaid parking tickets, and I'm like, okay, this is not their first rodeo. They've probably done this 1,000 times and gotten away with it with like
has to be
950 times, and the other 50 times they've gotten a ticket for it. You know what I mean?
And I guess the law of averages, they figure it's worth it. And then at that point, again, it's not a matter of, and you look at delivery vehicles, it's part of their business. They know they're going to pay.
Yeah.
But they also inconvenience other drivers and put people at risk because they block cycle lanes and so on. So it's part of doing business, but it's not okay.
Yes. And I just want to add also one of my other pet peeves of mine is when someone is actually sitting in their car, and I do give them that courtesy of knocking on their window and asking them, or directing them to move, and they don't. And it's like, do I have to beg people to not give them a ticket? I'm giving you an opportunity to move, and if I just continue on my way and I look back, they're still sitting there. So that's when I stop doing that, and I will stand there straddling my bike behind a vehicle, making sure that they move, because I have to babysit people to move them.
But it's funny. I saw your video and I laughed out. I really laughed out loud when I saw it with your slow motion.
The ticket. That
was funny. Yeah. That was so good.
I'm glad that was received well.
Well, it was received by me well. I thought that was hilarious.
Good.
If you are watching us, you don't know who we are. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. And the voice in your ear, if you're on Instagram or TikTok, that's Erin Urquhart. She's a parking enforcement officer with the Toronto Police Service, and she is answering questions specifically about parking. If you and about other things too, like your opinions on parking. No, we're talking about all sorts of things. It's bicycle safety. You're a big advocate for that. I am talking about traffic and police questions. So together, we've got the gamut covered. If you are in the chat, please don't spam. We're getting a lot of that today, and our moderators are telling us that it's annoying. Please don't do it. They have the ability of muting people. They will do it. We don't want to do it. We want to make sure we're here to get your questions answered. So please don't spam. Don't promote yourself in your personal businesses or harass others, or just be generally unnice, because this is all about being nice. We're here to get you the help that you're looking for. Now, if you're here to spam, it's not. You should go somewhere else. Okay. Ryan Pinn with a good morning and hello from YouTube. Apparently, coffee goes with pie on Monday. Well, coffee goes with everything, I think. Big Jeff Fresh coming in from YouTube says, "Good morning, Sean and Aaron." Let's see here. Okay, Lou Demi says, Aaron, if someone is parked in my underground parking spot of my apartment building that I pay for and can prove it because it's on my lease, can I have it towed, or what are my options? That's a great question.
That is, and it seems like you have all the information to get this answered. So yes, if you have the proof and the paperwork to show that you are renting that spot, or the rightful owner of that spot, then yes, that is when we will come, we will ticket the vehicle, and then we can tow it. The only thing is, for private property, you would be responsible for the tow if any damages were to occur to said vehicle that is getting towed. Sorry, let me just...
So you have to pay for the tow, and if something were to happen to it, you'd be responsible, or the towing company would be responsible?
I believe you would be, because it is private property. If it's towed from a city street, that's when the tow company is responsible.
It's interesting. I would assume the insurance would cover them for damages, but certainly it's not as simple as calling and having it towed away. I remember years ago, my family had a property. Somebody parked on it. We had to make sure signs were posted that say things, and I believe it's covered in that situation. And then if it was on property, I still had to pay. But if I could somehow get the wind to carry it to the road, it would have been covered.
Yeah.
Question coming in from Andy: can you eat and drive? So eating and driving is not an offense. There is no offense for eating and driving. Drinking non-alcoholic, non-drug, containing beverages are okay to consume. However, if doing so negatively impacts your driving, your ability to stay on the road, stay in your lane, safely operate your vehicle, then you could be charged for careless driving, not necessarily eating and driving. And it's not distracted driving in Ontario, although we're told that in other provinces that it could be impaired or distracted driving. So it depends on where you are. Know the laws before you do something, and that's why we're here, to be able to tell you what to do in Ontario. And many of the laws we talk about are the same elsewhere, but you still need to find out from your local authorities if you are not in Ontario. If you are spamming, you could also get blocked. That's just an additional thing. Wanted to mention it. Our moderators, who are volunteers, they are members of the community. They are people who care about traffic safety, your traffic safety, and making sure that you get the answers. So they volunteer their time graciously and have been doing so for nearly a year. We have a very strong community and dedicated people. They are not paid members. They are not police officers. Treat them nicely. They are nice people. Let's see here. Rob Baker wants to know if Aaron gets to carry a taser while on patrol.
No.
Do you know why? You use it a lot. They won't let her have it because she'll kill the batteries.
Yeah, no, we don't get any use of force. We do get a couple days, or I think it's 2 days of self-defense training. So that's it.
But you know what? You're not paid to engage. You're paid. You should go. Like,
exactly.
Call and they do have radios and they call for help. And guess what? We're all part of the same family. We come running.
Mm-hmm. And I've definitely had to use that in my 7 years on this job before. So yeah, the best thing to do if we are in a bad situation like that is to disengage and call it in and call our police friends to come help us.
Absolutely. Before I get to a follow-up question from Lou, question is, have you liked our live yet? Have you shared it with a friend? Well, if you haven't, please do. You can double tap your screen on Instagram. You can 600 or 700 tap it on TikTok. And what that'll do is tell the algorithm that you are approving of what you're seeing and others should see it too. Also, if you would be so kind as to share it, I see 8 shares have occurred on TikTok. That's a cool new feature that tells you how many times somebody's shared, forwarded the stream to other people. Bring your friends. And also, if you're on YouTube, and I just saw the numbers jump up on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, any of the other platforms that you're share it with folks and say that you like us, and subscribe on YouTube. We're almost at 1,000 followers. That's exciting. I don't know what happens if the balloons go off in our office when we hit 1,000, but whatever it is, we're looking forward to the next threshold. Why are there dots on the Toronto police cars? So if we're talking about the dots that run across the length of the vehicle, or across over the hood, up the A-pillar, down and so on, it's the outline. It's so that when a vehicle is approaching, they see the outline of the entire thing, not just the stripe. It paints a picture. It just makes us more visible, and it's all about safety. So now, Lou had asked a follow-up to the underground parking question. Could I just get it ticketed? So if I don't want to have them towed, can I get them ticketed for being in the wrong place?
Absolutely. Yes, it is. It's up to you as the private property resident if you want it towed or not. So yes, we could definitely come and put a ticket on the windshield, and that would be $30 for private property.
Oh, that does not seem like motivation.
No, I know. I personally think.
How frequently can you come in the morning and again in the afternoon? And how often can I get them ticketed?
I believe it's just the same as the city. It's every 24 hours.
Every 24 hours. That's good to know. At least it's a start. I don't know where you park while they're there. Can you? It really bothers me that people are so selfish that they would do something like that. Disgusting.
I see it happen all the time in my condo, and I've seen people who have, there's this one person who is actually on my, I'm on P4, so the last parking level, and it's someone who has a spot, and I always see their car parked in the guest parking when there's not another car in their spot. I don't know if it's because they're lazy, they don't want to go all the way down to P4. They're always in the P1.
Or they're just running in for 5 minutes.
But no, because in the morning I see it has a ticket on the windshield because I do know parking enforcement does come overnight to my building, and they tag overnight. I think it's between 2 and 4 a.m. because that's when they do it. And then I see the drivers, the residents that take it out on the concierge, and I'm like, it's what?
Yeah. Well, Akela says in some places downtown, $30 is a deal.
And I've had people say that to me out on the road too. You know, they've seen me ticketing on the street, and they'll pull up and they'll see me ticketing, and they'll ask me, how much is the ticket?
I'll take the ticket then.
Yeah, and they'll
Wow.
be like, just write me the ticket now. And I'm like, wow. Yeah,
That's like the
exactly.
tint video we put up when people went bananas. We had like 6 million views, and like, how much is it? $110? That's a deal. It's just rental. The price of having cool tint. Well, it's not for tint in particular. There's the ticket for it, but if it's on your windshield, that's unsafe. Either peel it there and drive away, or we take your license plates and take a tow truck. They don't understand that there's other impacts, and there are there impacts long term. Someone gets that $30 ticket for a week. What happens?
Well, yeah, then they're a habitual offender at that point, and then essentially, like, they'll just get automatically towed. I'm assuming by the property owner. They'll build themselves a case,
Well, and with a
they'll be
ticket,
recognized.
with a ticket there, if they don't pay it, would it then count towards scofflaw?
Yes, because it is a City of Toronto ticket. So
Scofflaw is when now it's 10, right?
It is
so
10, yes.
Unpaid tickets against their unpaid, so they haven't processed them, they haven't done anything.
Yes, so it's over 90 days.
In over 90 days.
Yeah.
So if you tag them on private property multiple times, and then eventually they will somehow the whole karma will catch up to them. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Question coming in on TikTok says, I'm nervous for my G test. Any tips? So first of all, G test means you've been driving for a while, at least. Well, for over a year and a half. If you took a course, you have 8 months for your G2, and then 12 months for your thing. So you're almost what's the math work on it? A lot of months.
You're asking the wrong person. I'm not good with math.
No, we're playing. You've got some experience. You know what you're doing. Get good sleep. Go to the bathroom. Eat. Feel good. Sleeping, eating, and not needing to go to the bathroom once the test has started. That's a huge deal. Now you've taken that off the table. The rest is verbalize what you're doing. If you're out with the tester and you're looking over your shoulder and they don't notice, well, say, I'm looking over my shoulder check, just tell them what you're doing. And I think that really goes a long way to communicating, and communication, what it's all about. We have...
Sorry.
Oh, hey, what are you doing? My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I'm joined by Erin. I almost called you Jaren. By Erin Urquhart. She's a parking enforcement officer with the Toronto Police. You hear her on Instagram and TikTok, but you can't see her. You can, however, see Erin because we have two cameras going on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn Live, Twitter, Facebook, and it's a whole different scenario when you're in widescreen, because then you see both of us. So if you want to join there, please do. Please follow us, like us, share us. We are all about education, sharing messages to help answer your traffic and police questions and parking questions today, as well as reduce the chances of you getting a ticket. The goal of education is so you know what's right and wrong, not because you didn't know already, but there's specific things. There's some things are confusing. We appreciate that not everybody understands every law, so we are here to dispel the myths. A lot of people think that it's illegal to drive barefoot. It's not. It may not be safe, but it's not illegal. These are things that we talk about all the time.
I was sorry, I cut you off there.
It's okay. I ignored you.
No, I didn't cut you off. Interrupted. No, I've driven before with bare feet, and it's just not comfortable for me. It feels weird, like in the summertime or like at a cottage or something like that.
I can't do it.
I did it once, never again.
Yeah, it's weird. I moved the car in my driveway once with like no feet, but no feet. I took my feet right off, no shoes. A LinkedIn user, possibly George, I don't know, it's anonymous. Hey Sean, any thoughts of adding an intro to your channel? If so, would you consider some people sending you complimentary concepts? Absolutely, I would love that. A friend of mine who is a musician, a producer, he says, I'm gonna make you a theme song. I'm waiting. James, if you're watching, let me know. I'd love to hear it. But at the same time, I think that's great. We'd love it. First of all, we're all about community. If you are part of our community and you want to contribute by way of artwork or some kind of a representation, graphics that we can use on social media, we'd love to showcase that. Sean Chen, by the way, I did see your hello, Sean, when you came in. Sorry, I meant to say acknowledge you, but I didn't get a chance because I've been so busy talking. He took some great photos. We use them as our VZ daily post. We use some of his photos. So if you would like to contribute in that way, if you're a photographer, if you're an audio person, if you're a graphic artist, anything that you want to produce, we would love to put it into the mix and use it on social media and credit you. We wouldn't just use it, we would credit you for the use. We can't pay you for it, but we can certainly credit you. Let's see here. Does the law require you to turn into first lane? I think I know where you're going with this. So when you're making a turn, if it's a left turn, you have to turn into the leftmost lane from the turning lane or from the left lane. You can't turn and make a wide turn and go into the right lane if if you're going into a 2-lane road or multi-lane road. That was called an improper turn. So you could be charged for that. It is illegal, and it's unsafe because everybody else on the road is expecting you to go where you're supposed to go. So you would have to turn to the appropriate lane and then signal and make a change there. Let's see here. Scrolling back because we missed a few. Did I mention that Lou followed up and said thanks, Sean and Aaron? Actually, he actually said your name first, but whatever. Not getting picky. Alan says good morning, Officer Sean and moderators. Happy Friday, and he's coming from Twitch. Let's see here. Tinto Tozy just dropped in. How you doing from Montreal? In the States they have windshield boots. Windshield? I've never heard of a windshield boot. I've heard of boots for like wheels.
Yeah,
but I've never done that. Let's see here. Windshield boot instead of a Denver boot. What are the benefits for cops? Well, we don't have either boot here. We simply tag and, if necessary, tow. Right? We don't boot.
Sorry.
We don't boot vehicles.
No, we do not boot vehicles. Sorry, I spaced out there.
That's okay. It's okay. You were deep in thought, analyzing the discussion. I get it.
But yeah, a lot of people comment that on my TikTok. They're like, "Oh, why don't you just boot the vehicle?" Because that sort of is the opposite of what we want. We want to clear the roads. We don't want to have the cars left there illegally parked, right?
For a long term, yeah.
Yeah,
the whole idea is keeping the city of Toronto moving, and you guys, you're all over the city. You're sun, rain, sleet,
all
like the U.S. mail service. Nothing holds you back. You're out there doing it, and it's all about keeping the city moving. You think about this: people litter without you. They would just do whatever they wanted in terms of leaving vehicles. You turn multi-lane roads into single-lane roads. And no one can get anywhere.
That's right.
Q wants to remind everybody that today is FriYAY. Wait, we need is it applause for Friday? I don't know. It's better than the laugh track I have.
You have like the siren one. They're like pew pew pew.
Oh, actually, no. I guess this is Happy FriYAY.
That one exactly.
Yes, my part-time DJ button. Okay. Ryan Pinn, what are we talking about here? Wrote the test once. I had a student tell me she wore a raincoat so the examiner would hear her every time she checked her blind. That's very creative.
That is creative. Wow.
So this is talking about their G test question. That is a very creative way of ensuring that people know you're moving. It's like your pants when you ride bicycle. I can tell when Aaron is approaching.
Walking down the hall because it's swish.
Yes, absolutely.
Not wearing the swishy pants today.
No, thank you. They're bicycle pants are noisy, but they're waterproof, and it's all about that material. How will the city handle parking tickets now? I guess we're talking about with the removal or the end of an era where there will no longer be stickers to determine validation on license plates. So how will the city handle parking tickets? Do you mean enforcement of parking tickets? Like if someone doesn't pay, how will they know that they didn't pay and so on? Or do you mean that people will not be able to walk up and see the validation status of a sticker? I don't know.
So yeah, that's a good question that I can't really answer right now because we're not even sure. So we stopped enforcing because we used to be able to write tickets for validation stickers on license plates. So if you had an expired sticker and you were illegally parked on top of that, you could get 2 tickets. One for say you didn't pay for parking, and then the second one for validation stickers. But since the pandemic, we stopped doing that because of the whole backlog and people couldn't renew their stickers. So I don't now with they're removing it from. So my understanding. Let me ask you this. So, you're still getting a sticker, but it's free, or are they just completely abolishing?
So
that?
No sticker, from our understanding, and unlike you, we have not received official word from.
We don't know the routine orders yet.
All we know is the new program begins on the 13th, which is not too far away, and that's when you'll be able to renew. There'll be no fee to renew, but our understanding is there is no physical sticker anymore. That way, they don't have to produce the sticker, mail the sticker, replace stickers when they're lost. They won't be. It just completely saves the province a ton of money. They pay that back by not charging you any money, which is awesome. But you still have to renew to keep your plates valid, and that will be a free program where you'll have to update your mileage and make sure your information is still correct, and whatever else they tell us when they eventually tell us, we'll then communicate that with you. Yeah. I look forward to knowing what it is.
Yeah, me too. So I'm assuming that if there's not going to be any physical sticker, they'll probably just take that whole part off of our part of writing parking tickets. That it won't be on the preface of the ticket anymore, because that is something that we do have to input, is the validation sticker. And if they don't have one, we just put NA. So
I guess you're going to be putting a lot of NA.
Well, I'm assuming our tech guys who run the handheld program, they're probably just going to take that right out of the software. That's just my guess, but don't mark my words on that. I'm not completely sure.
Ashton Sign says, "Oh my God, my favorite Ontario officers."
Hey.
And Ashton is our favorite Manitoban, because he's in Manitoba.
Well, hello from Ontario to Manitoba.
We have a question of, how are you doing today? Well, I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well too. Erin, how are you?
I'm good.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. It's excellent. Yeah, it's always a good mood.
Just putting on the screen for TikTok the code for the invite for Discord. We have a Discord server. That Discord server is where folks who want to be involved with us outside of our lives can be. Now, you can always comment on whatever platform you're watching, but if you actually want to be the next level, or you're interested in becoming a moderator, that code will help you on the process of getting to know us more. We have a great community, hundreds of people who have conversations about all sorts of things. Their pets, their the weather, I don't know, music. Let's see here. Scariest experience during your time as a cop? I don't know about scariest. I was involved in a motorcycle collision in 2018. That's how I ended up in the chair that I'm in now. And I'm not in a wheelchair, but in the chair in front of this office, in front of this camera. I was in a crash. It was pretty scary. I was told I was going to lose my leg. That didn't end up happening. My wife was picked up at headquarters and driven to the hospital to meet me, where I was in a neck brace for hours. I didn't know what was going to happen, and it was pretty scary, not knowing how my life was going to change. And it has changed. Fortunately, it was not as bad as it could have been, and I've been getting better. But that was, I think, easily the scariest time. What was your scariest time?
Yeah, sorry.
Well, not a cop, but as a parking person.
Yeah. Scariest because it was chaotic. And I've talked about this before on our combinated, is that even a word?
It's a new word. We just made it. Combinated.
Yeah. So collaboration. That's what I meant to say. And that was when I had found a stolen vehicle. This was in Yorkville. This was my walk-in and riding beat a couple of years ago. Still love to patrol there. Anyways, is sitting on a stolen vehicle. Police showed up to take over the investigation. And in the time frame where I went from one street over to the next, back like a big loop around Yorkville, the people who had stolen that car had jumped. It was a pickup truck, and they had jumped into the truck with the police officer there. The police officer actually pulled out his firearm because they were, in lethal force danger, I guess I would say.
I think that's the technical legal term. Yeah.
Yes. So, because they reversed nearly right into the police officer, smashing into multiple cars going the wrong way up Yorkville Avenue. And that's where I come into the picture, because I was on Bel Air Street.
And you stopped them.
Well, yeah, I picked up my bike and I threw it at them. No, I actually had to jump off my bike because the truck mounted the sidewalk. And
I think you win. I think yours was scarier than mine. I went for a short flight and had a landing with some blood, but yours was way more exciting.
No, I've been hit by a car too, and that's not on the job, obviously, but it's scary. But that was scary because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if other people were going to get hurt. There was an active police chase going on. I just remember the police officer who was there. He was like, "Are you okay? Like, this is all happening?" And like, I'm in the middle of the road. My bike's on the other side. Yeah, it was.
You should be doing a whole episode on that story.
It was crazy, and I think they actually had to call off the police chase because it was unsafe. This guy was chaotically going the wrong way on
crime vehicles are obviously very dangerous because the people have jeopardy. They don't want to get caught, and they will do some pretty dangerous stuff.
That was years ago, and I still remember it like yesterday. It was crazy, but that's pretty much. I've had other instances too where I've gotten the front tire of my bicycle got hit and it spun around, and if I was a little bit more, that would have been my body. So that was a little
you're very fortunate, and you know what, we got to appreciate the times that you avoid bad stuff.
Yeah.
And we talk about traffic safety all the time because every day you're a second away from possibly being involved in a collision and tragic end, because we have people who die on our roads on a regular basis. Are we up to 16 fatalities so far in the city of Toronto? I think it was 16.
Already?
It's too many. And that could be someone's mother, father, brother, sister, cousin. Like, it's somebody to someone who dies on our roads is someone important to somebody else. They all have family. So these are the reasons we are so motivated to discuss and make our roads safer. And that's the whole Vision Zero concept, where the city, through construction engineering, designs the roads to be safer. We educate to try and help make the roads safer, and then we have the enforcement arm where we actually try and dissuade people from continuing to be unsafe by way of issuing tickets. You try and make the road safer by keeping the vehicles out of the way, so people, like parked vehicles, so that they're out of the way and capable of allowing more traffic. Because when you restrict or slow down traffic, people make really silly moves. Parking can influence someone making really erratic driving maneuvers and causing collisions.
Yes.
Are warnings ever given if you're driving fast? Warning depends on how fast. I've given a warning for a few kilometers over, 10 kilometers over even. Depends on the circumstances. But very often it is not a warning. Very often it is a ticket, and it depends. Everything depends. There is something called discretion, and it is employed by officers of all likes as to whether or not they issue the ticket. Parking enforcement officers, you're moving, you're being kind. Okay, maybe you don't get a ticket. Maybe you do.
That it happens all the time. If I see someone sitting in their car and, they have their hazard lights on, that's, classic in the city of Toronto. Everyone thinks they can throw their lights on and park wherever. But if they move promptly when I just ring my little bike horn, beep, beep, and they're literally on their way, I'm not going to write a ticket for that. You did what I wanted you to do. You moved. It's like I said before, my pet peeve is when I ask them to move and
who are you? No.
They refuse, or they give me attitude.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's when I wish I just did.
Trying to be nice, and then it doesn't work out. Yeah, that's fun.
Exactly, yeah.
Can someone with a DUI become a police officer? Question coming in from Spicoli. The answer is I don't think so, but I don't know so. That's going to be up to an individual situation. Maybe it was an old thing. Maybe you made amends, but it's a criminal offense. If you were convicted of it, it may be difficult. But I've heard that minor offenses, sometimes they can move forward. Now, if you are interested in becoming a police officer, for anyone who's interested in becoming a police officer, we are hiring. Check out our website, www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. That is where you'll get more information. And it's not just police officers we hire parking enforcement officers, we have court officers, special constables, we have tons and tons of different positions, and we are always looking for good people who want a good job with a wonderful organization like ours. Let's see here. I find some laws are ridiculous to have instilled. I'm not sure what you mean, but we'll if you want to, follow up with explaining what you mean. Exhaust modification laws. Well, you have to have an exhaust. It has to meet the grade, has to produce no more than 74 decibels of sound at idle, according to safety standards from what we've been told by our mechanic friends, specifically Neon. If you are creating unnecessary noise, you can be charged under the Highway Traffic Act. That's a thing. You got to have the resonator. You got to have a muffler. A muffler has to muffle, has to reduce smoke. There's a bunch of things that has to do. So obviously you can't have a straight pipe, and you can't have one that is illegal. But I can't give you that. I don't know what else to tell you about exhaust laws. You got to have one. Let's see here. Can officers smoke vape on the job? Generally speaking, we don't smoke in uniform in public view, generally speaking. I believe that is an offense. But it's been so long since I've seen someone smoking, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I got a question. Is it illegal to have LED brake lights, strobe flashing at toe light, not too bright to blind you when you, wow, that's very long. O'Neill James asking from YouTube. So I will, and also a comment came in earlier. Erin is not my wife. We are not married.
No, I don't even have a ring. He's married, but not to me.
That's right. But someone mentioned it, so I wanted to make sure and clear the air, make sure that there was no, yeah. So back to O'Neill's question. The question is, so having what I believe is called a race brake, where it flashes multiple times prior to becoming solid. Very often see those in Subarus in the lower center of your bumper. They're not legal. You cannot have intermittent flashes of red light. They're not permitted. Now, there's been some argument about signals that flash, or you know what? That's my understanding is they're not legal. I don't think that they're a huge deal, but and it's certainly not the focus of my efforts when I'm out there. But know that you could be charged under the Highway Traffic Act. I'll have to circle back because I want to. The person who said, well, what about signals? Signals are intermittent flashes of red light, potentially, depending on the vehicle. So maybe they're not against the law, but that's what the last discussion led to, that they're technically not allowed. So we'll leave that with a question mark hovering over it and say they may not be legal, but if they become, or if I can confirm that they are legal, I will let everybody know. Let's see.
Your wife is in chat, though.
My wife is in chat. My
Your
actual
wife.
wife is in chat. Yes. Yes. See, I don't have a work wife. I have my wife, and she's here online. Hello, honey. Let's see here.
Probably looking for the person who made that comment and was like, "Who are you?"
What's the question here? Story answers. Okay. I'm not sure what this comment. We got a whole bunch. We got lots of activity on multiple platforms today. Why are modified exhausts illegal? Follow-up question. So modifications that are legal are legal. Modifications that make them illegal are then illegal. There are obviously standards that are set forth that are regulated, and if you meet them with your modifications, then you can still have them. If you don't, then they're illegal. I don't know any other way to describe that. There's laws, and if you break them, that makes them no longer acceptable. Someone drives over lane line a lot. Should I call 911? So if someone is on their phone or intoxicated, using or impaired by way of drugs or alcohol, or fatigue or anything, if they're unsafely or they're unsafe behind the wheel, they're causing you concern that you think that they might be a danger to themselves or others, yeah, call 911, because it's very likely that they are going to hurt themselves or others. If they simply pass someone crossing the line, it's a very different story. We're talking weaving within the line, absolutely, and I call it all the time. In fact, yesterday I called in because I was driving beside a vehicle that had a infant not secured in their car seat. And it was something that was like, oh my God, if this car is on the Don Valley Parkway northbound. And
like they were in a car seat, but they weren't just buckled in?
So the child, hey, safe driver, we got Scott Marshall in the chat just popped in. The deal is that they had two car seats in the rear seats, and mom and dad were in the front. I assume mom and dad. And one of the children was in a forward-facing, I think it was a forward, it may have been a rear-facing, but they were totally not secured, to the point where their head was closest to the mother, to the back of her seat, and was like crawling around. And then she picked him up out of the seat and brought him into the front seat.
Oh,
so completely unsecured. We're talking bad.
That's not good.
And children should never be in the front seat until they're over 14 years old or older, because airbags, in the event of a collision, that airbag could have killed that child. So incredibly unsafe. And yeah, I call 911 or call through to dispatch on a regular basis when I see things in my personal vehicle. That's not being a Karen. That's not that. I don't want to hear about it.
You didn't know that's my identity.
Yes, yeah, I love that video you did too.
Yeah.
It's Aaron, not Karen.
Yeah.
No, our job is to look out for the public, for the safety of the public, and we're doing it 24/7, even if we're not being paid for it. And I wouldn't pull someone over in my personal car. That wouldn't be safe, and it would look kind of strange. But that's terrible. I would have liked to have seen them stopped and charged. Maybe they were, because they stopped going in the direction I was going. Let's see here. Rob Baker wants to know, what's the most expensive parking ticket and what's the cheapest ticket? That's very specific.
I've actually done videos on this on the parking account, but I will gladly answer them. So the highest ticket that we issue is $450, and that is for any accessible spots. So, with the handicap permit, but we, politically correct term is accessible permit. So anytime you see that accessible, wheelchair logo on any parking sign, unless you have one of those permits, don't park there. Because those are that people come back to and they freak out. They start hyperventilating. I've had people start crying on the spot, and I just tell them, take a deep breath. It's okay, try to appeal it with the city to try and get it.
So you don't immediately take the ticket back when someone cries? I thought that was an automatic.
Yeah, tears of, no.
I have had many people cry, and then the moment they get the ticket, they're immediately straight-faced and fine.
Yeah.
It is crocodile tears to try and get
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
Sean to have a heart. And I tell him I gave my heart up when I joined the job.
Yeah.
I became a traffic
Yeah.
man.
Do you
Leave
even
your
have
heart
a
at the door.
heart? That's one of the other comments get all the time. Yes, it's beating. It's here. And
It,
and the lowest ticket is $30. It used to be $15, but that was upped, I think, like 2 years ago. Yeah, so that is the lowest fine, $30, and the highest is $400.
if you're interested in following Aaron and parking enforcement, know that there is an account. There's a bunch of accounts. You have Parking TPS is the main Twitter and TikTok.
Yep.
You have your
And Instagram, sorry.
And Instagram, okay. And then you also, and it's nice that it's the same on every one. We weren't so lucky with Traffic Services. We were like Traffic Services Toronto, anyway. But we got in late. There was less competition for Parking TPS.
Yeah. Not many people probably want to, BS out there.
Well, and what's your personal your other corporate account?
My account is TPS_BikeHeart, Bike HART, like a little play off my last name. And then my partner, he is joined on social media in the last 2 months, and his handle, I believe, it's PO Hegedus. It is TPS 7000, I believe, on TikTok and Twitter or Instagram. I think he has two separate handles. So
Okay.
one is, but the main one I believe is TPS 7000, and I think the other one's TPPT.
If you start searching, you will find him.
Yes, yeah. You can just find him through my accounts too. He's in there.
Question for you from Lou. Hey, Aaron, can I park my Slingshot around the city legally without paying at the meter since it's registered as a motorcycle?
Oh, a Slingshot, is that like the one with the
It's a
three tires?
three-wheel, yeah.
Oh, yes. So that is technically a motorcycle. So yes, you can park that in a motorcycle area, green P area, and don't have to pay. I actually, it's funny that someone asked me that 2 summers ago, I think. I remember I was out on the road, and I had to I saw one of those parked in a metered area, and I was like, I actually had to ask my supervisor. I'm like, is this considered a motorcycle? And they're like, yep. I was like, oh, okay. And
Got to wear a helmet.
yeah, got to wear a helmet, and you don't have to pay for parking. So there you go.
Okay. What is this? Oh, that's an interesting question. You didn't explain any why LOL about mods. So this is a follow-up about exhaust. The deal with the mods is if they are illegal. Yes, I said if they're legal mods or illegal mods. As to why they're illegal, well, if you take off your muffler, you will have smoke, emissions, and sound that is not permitted to do. You can't have smoke coming out of your pipes. Straight pipes do that. You can't have unnecessary noise, which is an entirely separate charge under the Highway Traffic Act. So if you have a straight pipe, for instance, you would not only be eligible for a ticket for not having the proper equipment, but you also would get a ticket for creating too much noise. So the laws are enacted by the government, and when they put them in, based on whatever motivations and the community members that they are appeasing by making, because obviously something happened to create the issue. Emissions is one of the biggest reasons, creating unnecessary smoke and noise. So hopefully that answers your question. If not, talk to your local authorities, your local government as to why they think it should be law to do that. I see too much cops speeding to a non-emergency. Taking some liberties, correcting some of the words. But so when you say not an emergency, how do you know what an emergency is? How do you know what it looks like? How do you know what they're doing when they're in their car? The thing is, you don't. Very often, police will exceed the speed limit, and so will fire an ambulance, without their lights and sirens on. And you know what? They're legally permitted to do that. There's an exemption under the Highway Traffic Act that for certain types of calls, we can go above the speed limit. Now, I say that it's actually certain types of calls for the fire and ambulance. They have very specific guidelines as to when they can activate and do things. Police are a little more open in terms of when they're allowed to, and it's for any lawful purpose while in the lawful execution of their duties. So if I'm trying to catch up to the car in front of me so I can read their license plate, I'm allowed to exceed the speed limit. If I want to get to a call, and that the purpose of that call is because someone's hurt, injured, needs help, whatever the case may be, I want to get there, I don't have to turn my lights on, because what happens when I turn my lights on? Everybody starts acting weird. They want to pull over. And it's a reasonable thing, because what do we teach people? You see lights, you pull over. Well, what if I don't want you to pull over because I just want to pass you? But it confuses people. So it's safer to not activate your lights and sirens in many cases. Now, if I have to go through a red traffic signal, I have to go through a light, I legally have to come to a complete stop, activate my full emergency lighting system and sound, and then once it's safe to do so, I can proceed through. But I can then turn it off again so I can stop making people drive unusually and make it safer for everybody. It's all about safety. That's Rich says a muffler doesn't not reduce smoke, it simply muffles the sound. The only item on a vehicle exhaust that may be reducing smoke would be the catalytic converters. According to, and I appreciate what you're saying, Rich, I'm not a mechanic. I'm only going based on the specifics written in the Highway Traffic Act for muffler, specifically talk about smoke as one of the things that mufflers reduce. So that's why I bring it up. And unnecessary noise also addresses smoke, oddly enough. But so they're all tied together to some degree. Question coming up about e-bikes and what about modifications to e-bikes. So I think Q, are you saying, are they asking if it's a criminal offense to modify an e-bike? Is that the question? Oh, okay. So here's the deal. E-bikes are motor vehicles, right? Or are they bicycles? Well, they started out as motor vehicles. There's a motor on the vehicle that's capable of producing movement or travel without using muscular input. So how does that then apply to a bicycle? Where it's confusing, right? E-bikes are, through the magic of legislation, now considered bicycles as long as they adhere to certain rules. If they meet all the check boxes, they are bicycles. So if it travels anything over 32 kilometers an hour, it's not an e-bike. That's the maximum speed that you can travel on an e-bike is 32 kilometers an hour. Otherwise, it is instantly and totally transformed back into its previous legal state of being a motor vehicle, at which point you require license, ownership, and insurance. If you don't insure that vehicle, that's a fine that starts at $5,000, goes to $25,000, and up to 6 months in jail. Because under the Compulsory Automobile Insurance Act, it's a motor vehicle, it must have insurance. Here's the funny thing, though. You can't actually insure it because you can't register it, and you just can't go more. So you modify it, you can't even license it because those haven't met the grade for is it the Canada Safety Inspection? There's a group whose name escapes me right now. And as Rob Baker wants to know if you can supercharge an e-bike. If you do, it's a supercharged motorcycle, not a super. Well, it wouldn't be E. Can you supercharge or just have an extra battery? What do you mean? I don't know. Let's see here. Questions. There were so many things, but yeah, that's the deal with it. And it's not a criminal offense to modify, but there's tons and tons of offenses and things you'd be doing, and driving without a license. That's another thing. Not criminal, but it is an offense. Let's see here. E-bikes going 30, how do you have? So I think I just covered this, but e-bikes going faster than 32 kilometers an hour, you'd be charged for driving without a license. You'd be charged for a non-registered motor vehicle. You'd be charged for drive no insurance. And there's probably a bunch of other, because you have to be able to stop at a certain distance with a certain type of braking system. So there's a ton of charges that you'd be eligible for. Let's see if we got another parking one.
Just an FYI before we get to another question, I might get lost on camera just because my phone might die. I'm at 2% here. I thought it was more charged. I apologize. But I'll still be on audio,
could
right?
You? Yeah, if the camera dies, we will still keep you in the audio. They'll just have they can't see you anymore.
Yeah. Well, we made it almost to 51 minutes with.
Wow, we're
battery,
almost there.
so
8 minutes left.
I don't
We're
know
doing
if
well.
2% will hold on.
I'm sure it will. I have faith.
Okay. But anyways, yeah. Is there any more questions that I could answer?
We will go. We have a little message for the folks on Instagram. In a few minutes, we are going to run out of time, and you will not be able to see us anymore. But you will be able to continue if you watch us on our Instagram. Sorry, not on Instagram. Instagram's going away because we are running out of an hour. You can come over on our YouTube or TikTok. And here's a question coming in. Can police chase motorcycles? Yes, they can. Will they? Depends on the situation. Every situation has its own set of rules. Is it someone who ran a stop sign? Is it someone who killed someone? There's different motivations to do different things, and everything is based on safety and risk to public safety. So, yeah, it's possible. It is possible, not that we will always do it. Let's see here. A full catback performance exhaust system, it could be okay. Performance doesn't mean illegal. It just depends. Is it an offense if you fail to clear an intersection? Yes. So what that means is, for anyone who's trying to figure out what they're talking about, if you enter an intersection but the light changes and you are stuck in the middle of an intersection, that is failing to clear the intersection. That is an offense under the Highway Traffic Act. And essentially, you can't enter the intersection unless you have a place to go at the other end. People, in traffic, the reason we have traffic, or at least one of the major contributors, is that people enter the intersection thinking, oh, everyone in front is going to move, and then they don't move. And then the intersection shuts down, the lights change, and now the people going the other direction get stuck. So you contribute to gridlock when you do that. How does air-patrolled highways work? That's a great question. We've had it once before, but not recently. Essentially, there's markings on the road, and an officer or observer in a aircraft would time you from one marking to the next, and based on the time, they would calculate your land speed. They would then radio down to somebody on the road who would pull you over and issue a ticket based on that information. Is it something that happens on a regular basis? I see the signs in York Region. I see the signs elsewhere, but we don't do that in Toronto. If a pedestrian jaywalks, do you have to stop? Well, forget law for a second. If they stand in front of your vehicle, what's going to happen? If you don't stop, you're going to hit them. And you just lost.
Yeah, I just lost it.
Erin's still here, but she is no longer on screen. And just continuing with that, yeah, obviously you need to not kill them, because that will happen if you don't stop. Now, if they jump out in front of your vehicle, are you responsible? Well, you should make efforts to stop if you can. And if something bad happens, well, then we'll deal with it then. Could they be responsible for their own demise in the event of making an unsafe move as a pedestrian? Yeah, but it's not illegal to jaywalk. Jaywalk is a term that from elsewhere, but obviously they may have made an unsafe move and may contribute to their own injuries or death. So it depends. Everything depends. But, you should always stop if you can. There's no depends on that. Let's see here. Zero enforcement location? Or do you mean Vision Zero enforcement location? I can reiterate where we are today. 52 Division and 42 Division, that's Kensington, Chinatown, Bay Street Corridor, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken Rouge, Scarborough in general. And the deal is that that's not the only place they are. That's just where they're focusing their efforts. There may be, and there are, in fact, officers throughout the city that are always enforcing the Highway Traffic Act, trying to keep our roads safe. Let's see what we got here. Why are bicycles not registered and insured? Bicycle person, tell me, do you know why?
I don't know why. I get this comment a lot on a lot of my TikTok videos, is like, you guys don't pay, road insurance or road taxes. I'm like, well, I do pay taxes, even though I do ride a bicycle. I'm also a car driver too.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. There was, some speculation that might happen. I haven't heard any news about that. That would be a more, politics side of things. We have nothing to do with that legislation.
For sure. And there's been lots of discussion over the years about requiring a license, requiring insurance, and would it be beneficial? Sure. But there's been no move to have it actually happen. Some countries do require it. And would it be beneficial? I think there'd be a lot of benefit to it.
I absolutely think so, because especially since the pandemic, there have been so many people who have gotten bicycles, especially the e-assist bikes. That's a whole other topic.
I think those, never mind pedal bicycles. E-bikes are electric scooters. E-kick scooters are illegal in Toronto, although there's a pilot allowing them in certain jurisdictions that allow them. But those should all be insured, in my opinion. And the reason being is, what happens if you hit a pedestrian? Okay, a car hits you, I get it. Their insurance covers you. It's not cool because it might be your fault, but you are covered by insurance. You hit a pedestrian, and I will tell you from nurses that have told me that pedestrians being hit by cyclists cause tremendous injuries.
Yeah.
So it's not so simple as, I don't need it. Well, it's just a bicycle. No, you can hurt people on a bicycle.
And it's also to keep, I think it would be beneficial to keep cyclists liable, exactly like you said, keep them liable for
their actions.
Following the rules.
3 seconds and Instagram shuts down. Take care, Instagram. You can always follow us on YouTube.
Happy Friday, Instagram.
And the deal with what was it? Oh, you were saying something. It triggered a thought, and then I distracted.
Just cyclists. It would keep cyclists liable for following the rules.
But they are responsible for following the rules of the road,
yeah.
and many cyclists don't realize this. But you can be charged under the Highway Traffic Act, and you are required to identify yourself under the Highway Traffic Act as a cyclist for running a stop sign, red light. Like, you can't get done for speeding, which I actually think you should, because there's some people riding really quick.
Yeah.
But the Highway Traffic Act doesn't apply for speeding. It requires only applies to motorists or those that are operating motor vehicles. But when you talk about when you talk about specifically rules of the road, they apply to everybody. If you've never driven, never taken a test, never read the book, how would you know?
Exactly.
So you have people who just don't know, and hopefully many of them watch us and are hearing this. But yeah, it's risk. It is a risk. Rob Baker wants to know, what kind of Glock do police carry? Well, with the Toronto Police, it's a Glock Model 22, which is a full-size 40 caliber firearm. Our tactical team carries 9mm. They're Glock 17s, but it's a full-size Glock. Yes. Different generations, but it depends on when they were issued. Okay, a follow-up question. If I have an M license, but I'm operating the legally modified e-bike, what would be the charges? Well, you have a license, so we couldn't charge you for driving a motorcycle without a license, but you'd still have the drive no insurance. You'd still have everything related to driving an unregistered motor vehicle on the road. So it'd still be a bad day at the office for you. At the end of the day, don't do it. Just don't do it. Signage company decide what bylaw signs to add? No, the signage company doesn't. When you order a sign, you tell them what bylaw needs to be covered, and obviously it must be the appropriate bylaw if you're putting it there. Can you drive in the HOV lane while pregnant? You can, as long as there's somebody else in the vehicle with you.
Does my unborn baby count? Yeah.
Unborn babies do not count, I'm sorry to say. They count once you do give birth to them, and at which point they get that whole privilege. And as Q so appropriately adds, neither do fur babies. If you have pets, they are not people. You cannot use the HOV. However, if you ride a motorcycle, you can ride in the HOV lane without a passenger. That is one of the exemptions. Or, of course, if you have a green plate or a vehicle that qualifies for a green plate. Now, no, let me rephrase. It's not if you have a vehicle that qualifies. It's if you actually have the vehicle attached, or the plate attached to the vehicle that qualifies. If you have a custom plate, a vanity plate, and you do not display a green plate, you are not eligible to use the HOV lane. Can I peel off my sticker as of March 13th? So if you're not been following along, as of March 13th, the new program kicks in, and Ontario will no longer require motorists or vehicles to have stickers on them. The motorists don't wear stickers either, but they have stickers. It will no longer require a sticker on the license plate. That being said, it's only after you register under the new system, which begins on March 13th, that you can take your sticker off, because you haven't actually registered at that point. And when we run your plate, you'll show up as not valid. Actually, that's not true. It'll show up as not valid after the 31st of March, because they've extended the extension that was originally set to end on February 28th is now extended to the 31st of March. So you've got some time to get into the new program and make it happen. But once that's done, once you're actually registered or renewed under the new no sticker system that comes in, then you will be able to remove your sticker. That's my understanding. What do we have here? 500 horsepower golf carts? Yeah. Is it illegal to have it? No. Is it illegal to operate on a motor on a street? It would be illegal. Are red plates politicians? Do they have exemptions? Red plates are why am I losing?
Diplomatic?
Diplomatic. Yes, they're diplomatic plates, so they're associated with a country's. Why, again, another word?
Like ambassador? Or I don't know.
What's the building? We're going to do shapes and we're going to do sounds like.
I know. It's on the top of my head too. Now we're both brain farting.
Embassy, thank you,
Embassy,
Q.
yes.
It's FriYAY. Kind of feels like a Monday when it comes to finding words to describe stuff and things. Q says she quits.
I was going to say consulate.
Consulate would work, but
it's kind of the same.
but it's for embassy. So if you were here and you are a diplomat from another country, the plates associated with that vehicle would be red. So here is what. In Ontario, all vehicles, including those of foreign representatives and their family members, must be insured through an Ontario-based private company. What's that got to do with anything? But more information that you did not know or ask about insurance. But yeah, they have to be insured here. So they are insured vehicles. They are licensed here. But in terms of it identifies that they have diplomatic immunity. Does that mean that they aren't responsible for what they do? Not exactly. We still pull them over and still deal with them, and then they'd be their embassy would be notified of what they were doing.
And their cars still get tickets.
They get tickets, but they may not. What happens
they might
afterwards?
Pay them?
Change,
yeah, I don't know. But people have asked me like, oh, it's a diplomatic plate, like they're exempt. I'm like, no, they're not.
No, they still get tickets, and they can then answer to the powers. It basically means that the people, and it's my understanding, which may be flawed or not up to date, but that they fall under the laws of their country, and they could be deported if they're breaking laws, like if they kill somebody. Maybe they wouldn't be held for trial here, or maybe their country would, say you are no longer, we're not protecting you. I don't know. This is way outside of my scope of knowledge, and I think it was Netflix movies that are influencing some of my opinions on what and knowledge. It's very interesting. Lou says, "Oh, and thank you, Big Jeff Fresh, who also said embassy and was this is going to become a new game show.
Yeah.
What are we thinking and trying to say?
Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Traffic Services Jeopardy?
Okay. Lou says, Sean, the Slingshot is on a trial program. What happens when it's done? If it's not approved, is my Slingshot then illegal to drive, or is it grandfathered out? So Slingshot, I believe, is under a trial where you can drive it with it's a motorcycle, but you can drive it with a G license. Is that how it's working, Lou? I think that's what the Slingshot trial program is. What would happen if the trial program was over, and this is purely a guess, is that it would just simply revert to a motorcycle, and you'd have to have a motorcycle license again, because that's how they originally came into the province, and then it was being covered by G licenses, and it is sort of a car.
Yeah.
But so I wonder
what they're like to drive. Kind of interesting.
Big Jeff Fresh says, today on What's Sean's Word?
You should make that a thing, a part of the show now.
Oh, we got Rena around the Rosie. I think I read that correctly. We have not a question, just wanted to say hi, traffic engineer here. Hey, I got to follow you back so we can talk about traffic engineer questions. Very cool. I just followed you. Stay in touch. Thanks for saying hey. Can I go to takeovers, or is that illegal? That's a funny question. I think you're being funny. But for those who don't know what takeovers are, that is where people illegally take over city streets and private property to stunt drive. So yeah, in Ontario, that is incredibly illegal, and it, in some cases, is criminal. So the laws were changed, and the reason everyone has stunt driving laws that now apply to private property is thanks to takeover people who did really stupid things on public property and private property, to the point where laws were created. So thanks to you. Not to you who's asking the question, but to you, the people who are takeovers. So many of them were charged criminally in relation to investigations that took place. Cars were seized. If you are caught stunt driving, so that's burnouts, donuts, drifting, speeding at either 40, 50, or over 150 kilometers an hour, depending on where you are. That's 30-day license suspension, 14-day vehicle impoundment, and that's just the start of the adventure, because after you get to court, there is a 1 to 3 year suspension on conviction for your first offense, a 3 to 10 year suspension on your second conviction. Conviction? I'm making new words. Then you have an indefinite on your third conviction or any subsequent. So if you're already getting your third, fourth, I don't know how much more suspended you could be after a lifetime, but that's where it starts. And then the fines go up. Listen, it is just illegal. The only place that you can do stupid or unsafe or stunty things is going to be on a racetrack or a event that is licensed or permitted by the government. So look at Honda Indy.
Yeah.
It's an Indy event. It's on city streets. Obviously, there are permits involved. They were granted. You can do things there. They're doing a movie shoot. They can apply for permits. They could do it there. But otherwise, you can't do it anywhere. And I hope that was the information that helps you in that regard. Rob Baker has the best question of the day. Does construction workers... I'm going to do a sound effect.
I love
Best question of the day. Does construction... It should be do construction workers choose the busiest spot to do construction just to make driving more difficult?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Feel that.
Possibly.
Feel that.
Obviously, listen, we're a big city. We got lots of people wanting to go everywhere at the same time every single day. No matter where you do construction, it's the busiest time of day. But and it's only where I go.
Yeah.
Everywhere I don't go, there's no traffic.
Yeah.
It's only if I have to go home or to work or wherever I go, obviously there's more traffic.
Yeah.
Truth is, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what? The biggest way to battle traffic is to accept that it's going to take you longer to get to wherever you have to go, and to leave with the appropriate amount of time. Somehow, I think that 60% of the population knows it takes an hour to get to work, leaves with 45 minutes to get there, and then it gets upset that they're late.
That's true.
If I have to go anywhere in Toronto, I don't care if it's down the street or at the other end, it takes an hour.
Yeah.
Anywhere in Toronto, it takes an hour.
It does. To get from one end to the other.
That's the deal.
Or sometimes, like when traffic's really bad, if there's an accident or something, sometimes it'll take you an hour to get through a couple intersections in the downtown core, that is.
We got a lot of firearms questions from the same person today. Can I carry an airsoft gun? Can I have an antique fire? Oh, actually, it's two different people with that question. So airsoft guns can be transported. You can't carry them. You run the risk of being shot because the airsoft guns don't look like airsoft guns. They look like actual firearms.
Yeah.
We had someone carry an M60. I think it was an M60, maybe it was an M16 replica, an airsoft in a subway station. That was responded to by multiple officers. It was an M16. Q says it was an M16 at Warden Station. I don't know what you would be thinking before walking through a crowded subway with what appears to be a machine gun, and how that could have been a good idea. In any case, not a good idea. Okay. What are transponders for trucks? Transponders are often, what is a transponder? It is a piece of equipment that reacts and sends information to radio frequency pings. So when you drive on and through the 407, a transponder sends back a signal when pinged, and that identifies that vehicle for the purposes of, well, I think for most cases would be for identification. What they do after that, I don't know. Where are the mod hats? That's a good question. Where are the mod hats? Q, you've been really quiet. What's happening?
I've been having a field day in chat. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, you've been enjoying all the spam, and your finger is numb. You got to put ice on that. It's the muting finger, the muting and spam filter finger.
I have Emma to help with that, and Ashton. Okay.
Emma, Ashton, how you doing? I didn't know that.
Jennicle's here too.
Hey, it's the whole party. Thank you very much again to all the moderators who come and spend time. We've actually gone overtime today, so we've been keeping you busy or later and longer than we should have. Sorry for that. It's just been so much fun to have Aaron here today. And it is good stuff. We have to do this again. We are going to sign off. We are going to say goodbye, but only for the weekend. We will be back on Monday. Is there a Monday? We have to come up with show names and titles for every day. But have a great weekend.
Motivational Monday?
Motivational Monday? I don't know. What are we going to talk about?
Things that motivate us to drive properly. I don't know. Not getting a ticket. There you go.
Well, yes, that's what we'll do. If you don't follow us, please do. Please share our stuff. Check out our videos. We posted some fun stuff. We'll have fun stuff over the weekend. What else are we doing? We hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful, safe weekend. Hopefully the weather gets a little better. It's kind of yucky right now.
Yeah, it's a snowy, gloomy day out there.
But you know what?
Don't forget the time.
Yes, well, you beat me to it. Don't forget to change your clocks. We're springing forward. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us everywhere. You can also get me at VoiceOver Cop on all the platforms. And that's it. That's a wrap. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
I like this music. It's just kind of, I don't know what
People could see me.
No, they don't want to see you. No, you don't want them to see you. You want to sing? You want to sing? You want to sing to this?
Sing? I used to be able to sing.
All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everybody.